Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to We're All Fine, the podcast that provides unsolicited advice from two completely, totally unqualified human beings.
Yes.
I am Holly.
I'm Carley.
We're so glad to be back with you guys today. It feels like a while. It's only been a week, but it feels like it's been a while.
97 years later.
We missed you guys.
It does feel like, yeah, it's been a while. I just want to thank everyone for accepting their petty a little bit. The feedback we got, I'm not going to lie. After the last episode, I was like, whew, and I really was petty and proud. But, I want to be honest. But the feedback that we got was very helpful and very empowering because I've never destroyed someone's life, but I have made people's lives more inconvenient when I have been hurt. And thank you for your support.
Because we were so brilliantly petty in the last episode, we wanted to bring you maybe some good vibes today.
Yeah.
Some positivity.
Well, because that's the thing, is basically, what the last episode reminded me of is that, I am a person that, do no harm, but, take no shit. And so that is what I would hope all of our listeners take into, every day. So, be the change that you wish to see in the world and all of those other very inspirational things. But also don't let people fuck you over. That's really what it is.
That's the moral of today's podcast. So thanks everybody for listening. Hope you have a great week.
Yeah.
And no, kidding.
We did it. I'm so concise. No,
that was it. We just saved a whole bunch of time.
Right.
But because of all the good things that we're going to be spouting at you today, we needed to do a little cleanse.
Yeah.
We needed to do an annoyance cleanse of annoying crap that has happened this week. And I just need to get it off of me so that I can bring in some positive.
Get it out, Holly. We're all here to support you. And I'm sure I will chime in.
Okay. So little things that have made me crazy. There were a couple of people on the highway this week that were tailgating me in the fast lane when I was going 15 over. And then they sped around me in a very unsafe way to get that extra 10 feet of space.
Douchebags. No, that is super annoying. That is super annoying.
That made me crazy.
My husband and I have a menagerie at our home. Lots of animals.
I thought you were going to say menage a trois.
I mean, my husband have a menage a trois at home every Tuesday. It keeps us... No, absolutely not. We've talked about this. I am not...
This really... That went hard, fast.
Right. So, unfortunately, like I said, I have a lot more work to do on myself before we could be swingers and be open. Maybe in the future, but not yet. But no, we have animals, and my husband has rescued kittens from our backyard, and just very sweet things. His heart is incredible. But my dogs and my cats decided to just go on a rampage. My husband was out of town, and my dogs ripped up one of my daughter's favorite stuffed animals. How they even got it, I have no idea. And they didn't even do it quietly. They didn't even take it to the backyard and massacre it there. They literally ripped out every inch of stuffing and decorated our entire living room with it. And that was really frustrating. And my cats, I had perfectly curated my fireplace mantle with a vintage mirror and candles and this very old painting, and it looked really good. And my fucking cats decided that was going to be their favorite playground, and they started playing and crashed the mirror down, so I had glass everywhere, broke a couple of my candles. So now it just looks like I drunkenly closed my eyes and was let's decorate this mantle. So I wasn't even annoyed at people. I was annoyed at my animals, which isn't fair to them. But
no,
my husband was out of town.
Cats are assholes.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Come on. I like you guys way more than I like people. Quit it.
So we've got shitty drivers, shitty cats, and dogs. And now I kind of feel better.
I do feel better.
We got it out.
That was really good.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay. So now let's let's fill up with some good things.
Yeah, I
Because
like that.
there's something about, I don't know, I'm pulling in like the Good Place references, but the idea of like otters holding hands. Like
Oh my
I sometimes I need those. What does he
yeah.
say? Michael says that feeling you get when you see otters holding hands and you're like, that's what I need today. Mhm.
No, I love that. Well, like, so I just want to give a couple things I think of to people. Just a day where you're kind of blah,
Uh-huh.
just not there. One, manatee. They're my favorite animals in the world. And they literally do not have the ability to be mean.
Really?
They were created with no predatory instinct. They do not fight amongst themselves. Their mouths are not built in a way where they could bite or do harm. So they are these giant, like, baked potato monster looking things that could be very intimidating, but they are just the sweetest things. So that's why you're not allowed to touch them out in the wild because they're naturally curious. They do not deem things as a threat because they do not have the ability within their brains to think like mean thoughts, right? And so they'll come over to you and they'll hug you and they'll check you out and they'll love you. And even mommies will let their babies go and like greet human beings. And so you're not allowed to touch them because they're naturally curious, which I think is just the cutest thing ever. So I like to think if you've ever watched Ted Lasso when he's like doing the dart game and he's like, be curious, not judgmental. Manatee all have Ted Lasso's voice for me now because,
Oh,
they're not judgmental, they're curious. And I really like that. I know, like, aren't they just the cutest? Sorry. If you guys don't know what a manatee is, one, I'm really sad for you. Two, go watch videos. They're incredible. And then another thing I think about is gay penguins. Gay couples will adopt babies that other penguins can't take care of or don't want to take care of. And gay couples will take the egg because they mate for life unless they decide not to. And they do have like amicable breakups. I just learned this the other day.
what? An
Yeah.
amicable penguin
So
breakup?
yeah, so they mate for life, but sometimes like they just will stop. But they don't hurt each other, they don't peck each other, they don't anything. They'll just go and mate with other people and then like build a new relationship, which I think is super cool because how often do we see that with civilized human beings, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no.
no, there's like even the most amicable breakup is not usually very amicable. But yeah, so they will adopt babies that wouldn't be cared for otherwise, and they raise them. And if they can't find babies, then they'll use stones. And so they'll like adopt a stone that they like, and they'll hold it and keep it and take care of it. And I just, oh,
Oh my god, I
gay
can't.
penguins and manatee man. Those are my things when I lose hope in the world. Those are my two big ones.
That's really lovely.
Isn't that
I like
cute?
that better than mine was when I heard on another podcast, somebody was like, there is no other purpose for your clitoris than to give you pleasure, which means that we are built literally to feel pleasure in our lives.
I like
And
that.
that kind of that when I thought about that, I went, I like that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
makes
that's
me
not
feel like the universe wants us to feel good.
yeah, like, it's not a
Mhm,
pleasure is not a luxury. It was
mhm.
built in. Like,
It's
that's
built in.
standard. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not like having a TV screen and a headrest where you gotta pay extra for that. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a real thing.
Now, I get it. The clitoris is not, a manatee or otters holding hands, but I still think it made me just like take a deep breath and go, yeah,
I mean, they are pretty
it's going to be a
cute.
good week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I can't wait to see the title of this episode.
oh God.
Like,
Um,
clitorises, manatee, and all good things. Like such I cannot wait. I hope AI has a good time with that too. I'm
oh
just
dear
gonna
God.
like take the transcript of what we've talked about so far, put it in AI and be like, what is this about? It'll have
Oh,
no idea.
this is terrifying. Well, guys, I think the thing is too, is that Carly and I wanted to not only share happy things, but also talk to you about how you can put good things back into the world. Because let's be honest, the only way there's going to be lots of good things is if we're all kind of doing our part and throwing it out there. I think we can feel good about the little things. Like, I threw my empty bottle of wine into the recycle bin.
When
So, thank you. And I think we gotta take those wins when we get it. Or, "Hey, I took a shower
yeah.
today."
Well, so I told my husband this because I actually told him this in the middle of a fight. I didn't feel like I was being spoiled enough. And I was like, you're lucky that you have the type of wife that you do because I don't expect extravagance, but I care about little things. And the little things are what matter. When I was finally done being a tyrant, and we talked about it, I decided to reframe. So there's no such thing as little things. There are only important details. So
Oh, I like that.
an important detail of your day may be paying for the coffee for the person behind you. It's not a little thing. It's an important detail. And I like that because those things are what really matter.
Mhm.
Your part as you're walking through a store, all of a sudden your partner reaching out and holding your hand. That means so much more than, I don't know, them just screaming out, "I love this person!" Like, that would be embarrassing.
So, my mom growing up had all of these, like, super weird she would give these pieces of advice, but she repeated them so often that they became like isms for her.
Yeah.
So at her memorial a few years ago, I created these little, they were like bookmarks that just had all of her, we called her name was Terry, and we called them Terry isms. And they
Mm,
were the things that my mom would say constantly. So many of them were about putting good into the world, and they're so easy because, my
mhm.
mom was a single mom and two crazy children, and she was also going to school. And I mean, there was just like a lot. So she didn't have time to do the big stuff. And she certainly didn't have the money to do things like pay for the coffee for the person behind her because we weren't getting coffee. Like that was a big luxury. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
So there were a
same.
lot of little things, really little things like you never got off a phone conversation without saying I love you. And that was
Mm,
even in the middle of a fight or whatever, I love you. And then you would get off. Same thing with like leaving for the day. Things happen where all of a sudden life changes in an instant. And you wanna be able to feel that you've said that thing. I got
true.
lost in a reels where I
Mm.
just was watching reels and reels, and somehow I end up on this thing that's, like, showing dumb drivers, which was kind of fun for a while, until there's a video where a plane literally fell out of the sky and took out a minivan.
No, thank you.
Yep. So, clearly, there were no survivors in that one, but the point about it is that if a plane literally falls out of the sky to take out your car, that is, like,
There's nothing
that
you could do.
no, that was like unfortunately, that was fate. There was nothing. It was just your time. And you never know when that's gonna happen. So it's always really
Real.
good to say, "I love you," before you end the conversation. So that's one of the little ones. My
Right.
favorite one, and I still do it to this day, when you can't afford the coffee for the person behind you or paying for their meal or whatever, my mom always said, "If you are thinking something nice about someone you know, a stranger, whatever, always say it. Don't just think
Mm,
it, say it
yeah.
because you never know what that person is going through." So I remember being a teen and I'm like 14 and we're in the drive through of God only knows, like a chicken place or burger place or who knows. And I'm in the front seat and I made the mistake of telling my mom, that boy in the window, he's so cute. I should have known better. So when the guy hands the food to us, my mom says, "Excuse me, young man? Young man, my daughter, yes, the one that's crouching down in the seat next to me, trying to hide, she thinks you are very handsome. Yep,
Oh,
can you see her? She thinks you're very handsome. Okay, well,
so
thank you. Have a good day."
uh,
So I'm in the seat next to her,
yeah,
slowly dying and thinking, this is it. This is where the black hole just needs to open up, suck me in, and I can
yeah,
be free from this humiliation.
yeah, I'm done now. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you,
And
world.
she just drives off with a smile on her face like she didn't just end my life. And I looked at her and I was like, "Mom, my God, why did you do that?" And she looked at me and she was like, You don't know what that kid was going through today. You don't know
Mm,
what kind of day he had. You're never going to see him again. Maybe, maybe not. And if you do, it's to get a burger. Like, that's it. But now he can think for the rest of the day. Some cute girl thought I was good looking. And he's going to hold on to that for the rest of the day, maybe even the week. He's going to think
yeah,
about it and he's just going to feel good about himself. And she goes, "And what did it cost you? A couple of seconds of embarrassment?" She's like, "And maybe you've made his entire day."
right.
So even now, when I'm in the grocery store, if I see someone in front of me and I'm like, "Oh, I like their shoes," I will say, "Excuse me, I love your shoes," or, "Oh, your
Yes.
nails are fabulous," or, "What a cool blah, blah, blah." I
Yeah,
always say it. And I never do it like a, "Hey, I just want you to know your ass is great." Like, you don't
right.
say anything. I mean,
You're not
have a
a
little bit of
creeper.
a filter, right?
Yeah.
But something that is sort of, not personal, not, you
Yeah.
know, but just letting them know, "Hey, I want you to know you're great. I hope you have an awesome day." Same thing with like people who are really friendly or smile a lot. I will just tell them, "Hey, thank you so much for being so friendly today. That really made my day."
I love that. So, like, one of my favorite things to do, and sometimes it catches strangers off guard, but luckily never in a bad way. So, I don't believe that being a gentleman is based off of your genitals. Like, being a gentleman is just being chivalrous. Like, I've been a gentleman many times in my life. And so if somebody, whether it's an old grandma or a 7-year-old boy, if someone opens the door or holds the door for me, I go, "Oh my god, what a gentleman." And I cannot tell you how many women have been like nodded their head to me or, like they've played into it. But then it's this like really fun thing where like they've giggled. And one of my highlights of this is I did it to a coworker years ago. And all of a sudden, it was probably a couple weeks ago, and I used to work at a school and I was back at the school. And I held the door open for her, and she goes, without thinking, "You're such a gentleman." And I giggled and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is so funny," knowing that I do it all the time, right? And she goes, "Yeah, someone did it one day and it just like made my day." So she totally forgot who did it first, but then has done it now for forever. And it made me feel really nice because it was like, because it's really fun. Try it. Like, just try it all the time. Like, and if somebody's offended and they feel like you misgendered them, like, just, be conscious because you don't want to offend someone. I'm careful
Sure.
about doing it. But I cannot tell you how many adorable, like, older women have held the door for me, and I'm like, "You're such a gentleman," and all of a sudden they, like, tip a fake hat, like, it's just cute. It's so much better than a quick thanks, or the worst, like, ignoring someone, right? Because you don't know, like, I get it, it's kind of an awkward thing. Um, and another thing, and I don't wanna sit here acting like I'm this, like, incredible creature, but I will hold a door for someone if I see them coming, even if it's an awkward distance,
Uh-huh.
because I see that you're there. So I'm going to hold the door open for you. And when people start to rush, I'm like, "No, no, no. No, no. Take your time. Take your time." Because I know what that feeling is, right? When somebody's holding a door for
You
you, but it's
rush.
within that awkward length, and you're like, "Oh god. Oh god."
But see, that's where I would stress because if I tell someone, "No, no, no, take your time," my voice naturally sounds sarcastic. Like coming out of the womb, my
Yeah.
cry was sarcasm. So
Right.
it's really like,
Sounded like
"Yeah,
you were making fun of
yeah, I'm
Alzheimer's.
hungry. Yeah, okay, sounds good." Like I just,
I love that.
so I couldn't do that because people would be like, "It's fine."
Right, you're
So
basically saying, like, "Knees to chest, bitch. Like, let's go. I'm doing a nice thing for you. Don't make me regret it."
that's exactly how it would come out. So I like that you do it because you would sound very sweet and they go, "Thanks." If I do it, they're going to be like, "F you. I don't want to let the door hit you on the way out." So yeah. But
I
I
love
like that you do it. And I think that's important. As we're sharing these little tidbits of like put good into the world, do understand that sometimes it works for people and sometimes it doesn't. So
it.
I mean, I've known lots of people that are really struggling to understand personal space. So when they talk to you, They don't do that, like, personal space of, like, it's a solid, like, 3 feet, right? When you're talking to someone, but
Yeah.
what they do is they come up where there's just, like, inches from their face to my face, and they wanna talk to me about something that is not personal at all. Like, they'll be like, "Have you had that new shake at McDonald's?" And I'm like, why are you telling me this, like, so close?" And
Right.
if you're that person and you decide to go give just, like, a totally general compliment to someone up close like that, you may get maced, and I don't wanna be responsible for that. So please understand who you are, what works for you, and
Yes.
what doesn't. Putting good into the world, these are just, like, a couple things. Um, and the other thing is to, like, share good things. When good things happen, share it with the world. So,
Yeah.
we do have a couple good things that we wanted to share just to kinda give you some warm fuzzies
No,
on your
it's
day
true.
today. Yeah.
Just to, like, make people feel good. I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know. I I I realize that my catchphrases on this podcast are 100% like, and I like that. As if that is important feedback or actually helps in any way. But I know what it's like to feel like good things aren't happening all the
Mhm.
time. And there are beautiful things happening everywhere. And I just I enjoy I enjoy the idea that the world has beautiful moments every once in a while. So, one of the really cute things I found that made me really happy was an elderly couple paid. So, I'm reading a person's thing. An elderly couple paying for my boyfriend and I's entire meal at a Denny once. We were just $5 short. It was made extra heartwarming because in our area, buying young people with funny new young person style, a lot of people might have made the assumption that we were rude or that we were freeloading, but this adorable elderly couple paid for our entire meal at Denny's. They complimented our interesting clothing. The husband made sure to mention that my tattoos were very pretty, which he never thought of, that he like had never thought that before.
Oh.
And I think that's really cute, like going against like possible prejudice or like when people that society or the world or preconceived notions would tell you that they can't get along, all of a sudden they're just perfect and beautiful together. And I enjoy that.
That's so
So
sweet.
this one was really cute and really fast. I got a thumbs up yesterday from a semi truck driver. It made my fucking week.
Oh my god. That is the best. I still think about that as a kid, like, doing the, like, invisible,
Yeah,
like,
the honk honk.
pulling the honk,
Mhm.
our motion, and anytime they did it, I was like, "I am king of the world."
Yeah. When I so I used to work at a preschool, and I always made sure to go outside when the, trash guys were coming because my kids thought that they were just heroes, and the trash guys got to the point where well, and it was actually really cute too because a lot of the kiddos, like, they were very little. I
Sure.
had some 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, so they would run up to the gate or they'd look at me and be like, "Miss Cotty, the dumb fucks are here, the dumb fucks are here." And they were trying to say the dump trucks.
Oh my god.
So that was, like, one of my highlights of the week. That really got me through a lot of things. But they'd run up to the fence, and it got to the point where the trash guys realized that my kids thought that they were just celebrities. And so one day I had the kids take out paper and a marker and ask for their autographs. And the
Oh my
dudes
god.
sat there the whole time and signed every single piece of paper and high-fived because we had, like, a short fence, and they high-fived him, and they were about it. And those trash guys, like, they would start honking all the way down, so we knew that they were coming, so I'd throw all the kids' coats on and get them out there, and it was one of my these people, like, these people, these tiny little children that are just like, "Whoa, you're the coolest dumb fuck I've ever seen." Like And these dudes were like burly, right? One of the guys had this long beard covered in tattoos. Like his name was Sid. He, like, looked like kinda like a dude, you know? And he probably was in a biker gang 'cause, I mean, like, him and I had conversations, and he always talked about his club he was in. So, like but he was so sweet, and, like, it was this very positive, very beautiful exchange. And so, I don't know, that was one of my favorite things in the world, that these dudes took time to give autographs to these tiny little babies because they didn't have to. They coulda just done their job, gotten back in the truck, and just kept it moving, and they
Mhm.
didn't, and I thought that was really sweet.
That is the most
Um,
beautiful story of a dumb fuck I have ever
right?
heard in my life.
Yeah. No, it's great, and if you have a toddler in your life, teach them to say dump truck. They're not gonna say it right, so it's gonna be really funny. It's gonna be really funny. You're gonna love it.
My god, that's hilarious.
I had another little one that loved ducks.
Oh.
It wasn't their fault, but they would go around and they thought that ducks said ducks. No matter how many
Oh,
times I would be like, "Hey, ducks say quack." And so she'd walk around like this and she'd wave her little arms and she'd go quack 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 quack. All the other kids thought like knew what she was doing, and so nobody picked it up. We told the parents about it, but I just thought that was it's innocence. It was
okay,
so innocent.
Carly, the common denominator in your kids spouting profanity is you. I don't wanna be the one to bring it up, but,
I mean, I will say it's the
like,
one place in my life that I did not swear. Everywhere else,
really?
like I
Welcome to fucking preschool,
right.
you little shits.
Right. Like,
Yes.
we're fuck shit up today, kiddos. Like, raise some hell. Like,
Grab your
no.
coats, the dumb fucks are coming.
When children are learning language, like there are really hard blends and digraphs and but yeah, no, so she was my little duck and I just loved it to pieces. I thought it was the cutest thing in the world. But we told
My
the
god.
parents and very shortly after it was quack. Very fast. But
Mm, yeah, I'm sure.
I thought it was cute. But I love the idea that a grown up was like, "Oh, my truck driver, give me a thumbs up. Shit, yeah." Like, here's another one. So, a neighbor held a garage sale to fund a surgery that I needed. Like, they didn't have the funds, but they set up a garage sale. And
Which
I think
is
that's really cool.
that's such a direct support instead of, like, the GoFundMe page. Like, there's so much
Yes.
effort and time involved in that. That's really special.
Here's
Okay,
one
go ahead.
here's one just like yours. Your mom's like a hero. I was driving back from work and this girl in another car called me cute at a red light. It felt good, honestly, and I probably won't forget it considering I don't get a lot of compliments.
See?
See,
See?
your mom is a hero. Your mom is a hero.
Well, I'm gonna share a feel-good story about my mom because she really was a hero and all kinds of good things. And I
Um,
believe I mean, I know we call it karma, but I also believe, like, the more good stuff you put out, the more good stuff comes in. And it's not always, like, a direct correlation, but
mm-mm.
it eventually comes out. So,
Oh,
here's a cool story. My mom was adopted, and she knew that she was adopted. My grandparents told her, but much later on in her life, she was like 50, and she was like, you know what? I want to be able to find my birth family. Like, I'd like to
mm,
know who they were. So she goes looking, and she did find her mom's side of the family. They all lived in Denver. She was the youngest of 8 kids. None of them knew she even existed because mom would like gain weight, lose weight or whatever, and she had my mom told, her sister about it, and that was it. No one knew.
mm,
But there was no question about it because of all of the children, my mom was the one who looked most like her birth mother
mm,
of all of them, like an exact replica. It was so crazy. So, um, that side of the family, it was really cool to meet family, and that was kind of neat. It very different kinds of people, so it was neat to, like, meet them and that kind of thing, but connections weren't really made heavily with that side. I've
mm,
got a really phenomenal cousin that I've met through that, like, a second cousin that I, like, love him and his family and
Oh, I
love that
love
we have that
that.
family, which is great. So, there from that side, we did meet some really wonderful people. But my mom wanted to know about her birth father. Nobody knows who the birth father is. She does the whole by this point, like, the 23andMe and Ancestry.com and stuff has all come out. So she does that, and she sees someone that says it's a close match, like, super close match. So she sends an email out that's like, "Okay, this might be weird, but I think, like, I might be your sibling." And she gets a response back that says, "You're not gonna believe this, but we've been looking for you." My mom's birth father never knew about her, but always suspected that
Mm,
he'd had a child in Colorado. There was a bad
yeah.
breakup and the whole thing. And so when he had children after my mom, so my mom was the oldest of 4 on that side, he told them their whole lives, "You guys probably have a sibling in Colorado. If you're ever there, just know." And so that was what they expected forever. And come to find out there was another girl that had been born, who had passed away as a
Mm,
baby on that side. So, of the 2 brothers and 1 sister, the one sister always felt like she just really missed out having a sister, and then she met
yeah.
my mom, and the 4 of them were so tight. They just started texting constantly, and they told her how much they loved her and accepted her, and it was beautiful. And for 3 years, my mom felt like she belonged somewhere. And then, unfortunately, she passed away, but her siblings were at literally in the hospital at her deathbed, holding her hand as she passed away. And they spoke at her memorial. And it was so beautiful that the last 3 years of her life, she had this family who instantaneously just had arms open and loved her and said, "It's like we've known you forever." And in all these stories, unfortunately, her birth parents had passed away long ago, so she never met them. But I ended up gaining aunts and uncles who are, like,
Yeah.
the best.
Well, and she got
It's
to meet
really
her parents through the people that loved them and knew them most. Like, your children know you better than anyone else, more than you know yourself, 90% of the time, I feel like. And so, like,
that's so true.
I don't know. Oh, you made my eyes leak, Holly.
I'm sorry. But it
No,
was
in a beautiful way. Like, having that connection, like, feeling like you belong is so important. And what a gift. And a person who was so deserving of it.
they did a
Like,
huge family reunion about a year and a half before she passed, and she
ugh,
met my god, there were, like, 100 plus people at this reunion where she got to meet family, and we have just pictures and pictures of her and her siblings, and they all look alike and similar sense of humor, and just this giant picture,
yeah,
her with this family she never knew her whole life, but had really kind of always been around. That's
yeah.
amazing.
I love that. See, and like sometimes, I don't know, sometimes grief and stuff, like it can be super, super isolating. So to be able to then have these people that she was brave enough to reach out to, that were brave enough to have open arms for, and then now you get to like interact with and have those moments and those people, like, oh, that's so powerful. That is so beautiful. Yeah. I have a friend that was always kind of like a Scrooge about birthdays. Like, didn't really
Mhm.
care about birthdays. Like, well, what's a big fucking deal, Which I love a crusty crab. So, like, I love birthdays, but I love a crusty crab. And they had a dear friend, very close friend, that was all about birthdays. Like, was the person that would do anything for a birthday. Never forgot him. And the friend that loved birthdays passed away. And we'll call him Ebenezer. Had a really hard time with with their friend's passing, to the point where they were like, I don't know how, I can't process this. It's too much. And so through the help of like counseling guidance and stuff, they found out that you can help your loved one live on by remembering the greatest parts of them. And so Ebenezer started taking on the tradition of birthdays. And even if they don't talk to you, even if they don't know you and you're on the friends list, like literally goes through the friends list every day and wishes every single person a happy birthday. And will buy flowers for people. Or if they see a birthday dinner, they will pay for, because they have the ability to, they will pay for the meal. And when they don't have the ability to, they will make sure to always say happy birthday. And there's just something that I love. I love that. Like, because it's not only healing you or healing them, it's also remembering and giving someone else like an extra special thing on an extra special day. And I just,
I
oh,
love that.
isn't it? And it's so simple. It's such a simple
Hmm.
thing. Because, like I said, when you don't have the funds to pay for that dinner, that's okay. But make sure that you say happiest birthday. Enjoy everything. And I like that. Well wishes from a stranger sometimes can mean a lot.
For sure. Words have power. So,
I
I
do.
mean, when you can, wield them for good.
Yeah, I agree.
um,
I like that. That's
and
beautiful.
speaking of powerful words, my friends, we want to thank you for all of your great reviews on
No,
on the podcast. You guys have left us some really lovely messages. We've gotten to talk with some of you guys live on how things are going and what you like and that kind of thing. We would love to hear more from you. If you've got some ideas on conversations that you would like to hear on the podcast, we've got some really good stuff coming up over the next couple
absolutely.
months, but we would love your thoughts. So you can always email us at we'reallfinepodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on the gram at We're All Fine Podcast, and Facebook, We're All Fine Podcast, and of course on YouTube, and now TikTok. We finally, for as long as it's around, we're on the talk.
Yep.
We talk. Ooh,
Which
that is.
I still don't understand it, but it's easier than Snapchat. That's a story for another day.
Oh God, yeah. That's. I'm realizing how incredibly old I am. Is really what that's about. But we do want to give a shout out to one of our Apple reviews. I don't know who this is. This is MESSSSS exclamation points. Miss is who this is. I can't even explain how much joy this podcast brings to my life. You guys make my day every single time. Miss,
You make our day.
you really did. Thanks for sharing a little bit of love with us. And if you guys have the time or inclination, please leave us a review. And, if you really hate it, please leave, I don't know, a DM telling us how much.
Email it.
Email it.
Emails are really productive.
I love it. We'll take the feedback. Join us, guys. We've got so much good stuff coming up. We're excited to share with you. And as always, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.